YouTube likes me.
Hello and welcome to Unrelenting 134. I am Darren O'Neill. He is Gene Nivtuliev, and let's just say, Gene, your mission that you were on for the last few weeks had very good results.
I'm so tired.
I mean, you should be. You've been working nonstop.
I had to bring Trump Russia. You know how hard that is? You know how many time zones Russia has?
I mean, you have to really...
The Russian vote just made it all happen.
You had to canvass them. And were these the Russians in the United States or the Russians in Russia that were voting?
Oh, I mean, the United States, naturally.
Of course. Happy days are here again.
Yeah, that should be playing in the background. I mean, that's got to be out of copyright, right? You can play that. That's not a...
Well, this was
not even a thing.
This was Glenn Beck's guy. And he did this in election years ago, but it came back with the...
Kamala, you've got no class. That's why Donald Trump just kicked your ass. Take with you tampon Timmy Wolf, the man who has no balls. Oh, you lying sacks, it's time to go. We won't miss your lying commie show. It's sure been fun, but not real fun. Next Donald Trump has begun. Donald Trump has just begun.
Yeah, that's Pat Gray from the Glenn Beck radio program. He was doing that all day long, and I was just laughing every time he did it, and I don't know what kind of a voice he had by the end of the day.
Yeah, that's speaking of Tim Walz's balls there.
Or lack thereof.
It kind of reminded me of, what's the guy's name? The tiptoeing through the tulips guy.
Oh, yeah, Tiny Tim.
Ukulele. Yeah, Tiny Tim.
Tiptoe through the tulips.
And he was about your height.
Yeah. Hey, you got to get that vocal range, man.
Yeah, I guess.
Got to get the vocal range.
Mm-hmm.
But you were one of the people that said we were so far gone that the cheating was never going to let a Trump victory happen, I think.
Yes. Black-pilled, I think, is what they referred to as.
And I saw you had like a special emergency episode of Two Good Old Boys. Was was Ben making fun of you too for that? Or, I mean, do we need to make fun of you here?
It wasn't an emergency episode. It was a special. Because when we recorded the previous episode, we decided, there's going to be a need for a special of no matter what. Because either there's going to be rioting on the street, because Ben's in D.C. right now.
What, was he insane? Why is he in
for
D.C.?
his, pretend job. But
okay, so he's a spook.
Well, obviously, like you couldn't pick that up from that episode. That's why the Good Old Boys is such a great inside joke.
Yeah, I mean, there's one Russian spook and then there's one American spook, and they get together.
No, we're both Texans.
And they pretend they're Texans, and they trade stories and tips on spook things. It's a great show. I mean, if you listen,
it's a great show. You should check it out.
If you listen to it backwards, it's a completely different show.
Ignore the numbers you hear randomly throughout the course of the show. They mean nothing.
47, 6,
33
means nothing at all.
No, it's American football. That's all it is. But yeah, it's so we thought, well, if there's riots, let's get some clips of that. And so I'm talking to Ben on the special, and he's like, it's dead. It's nothing. There's nothing going on.
No,
they called him off. I was like, well, is there at least bricks on the corners? I mean, come on, man.
I think the only place people went to the streets were here in Chirac and I think in Pennsylvania. But they were also anti-Israel protesters. So I don't know how. I think they just kind of wrote Trump where Israel was on the sign and went out into the streets.
Yeah. And the thing that gets me too is the videos on X of these completely milquetoasty men talking about how they just feel devastated about their daughter's and their inabilities to have abortions. And I'm like, okay, so you're out there basically saying you're sad that your grandchildren aren't going to be killed.
Yes, exactly.
What the fuck, man?
And that you have failed as a parent and didn't teach your children not to get knocked up if they don't want to get knocked up.
Or didn't teach them that, maybe you don't want to be killing your grandchildren.
Right.
It's insane. It makes no sense. I get a 20-year-old woman feeling like some rights have been taken away from her if she happens to be in a state that passed some legislation about abortion. Because at 20 years old, you're dumb as a piece of, what? It's like her worldview hasn't yet been built because she just moved out of a college dorm. And before that, she just moved out of her parents' house. So
beyond
she
that,
doesn't really have a worldview yet.
As much as Jimmy Kimmel is a crazy leftist and cried because of this, I think he did a man on the street thing the day after the election, asking people who they were going to vote for, and the amount of people who had no clue the election had taken place. Oh my God.
Wait, they did a who you going to vote for after the election?
Yes, and people didn't realize.
Were they not aware there was an election?
No, they were, but this, I guess, again, they wanted to go out.
Somebody had the idea that it'd be a funny gag.
Yeah. And
wow. That's actually creative.
Yeah. Then people that answered not knowing, like, oh, no, Kamala's got. And it wasn't like they were doing it for comedy or anything. A lot of people just were unaware that and I don't. Now, I understand most people now do not pay any attention to the mainstream media. I get that. They don't
Which is good.
They don't read newspapers. They don't tune into the news. But if you're on social media at all, how did you miss that an election happened?
Yeah, what kind of algorithm is Google feeding you where there's zero election news?
Whatever it is, I like it.
Yeah, I know, right? How do you sign up for that one?
Would be the perfect one.
Wow. Yeah, that is insane, man.
Well, and this was my question. There was a blonde female reporter. I don't even know. I'm guessing maybe she was from Fox News, because who else would ask the question of Claudine Jean-Pierre after Joe Biden came out, and Kamala came out and did a concession speech. And both of them were like, well, everything's going to be okay. And the question was asked, well, but like 24 hours ago, Joe Biden was saying Trump was a threat to democracy. And if he won, all these bad things were going to happen. So what changed?
I'm peacefully transitioning to the threat to democracy. Thank
exactly. Well, that was basically what Karine Jean-Pierre said. Like, it's going to be a peaceful transfer of power, and stop twisting my words. It's like, there's no twisting anybody's words.
Right.
The folks on the left said if Donald Trump won, democracy was going to fail. If you don't believe that the day after he won, then you didn't believe it when you were saying it. Because if you believed that, then you would be panicked today.
Yeah.
But no, that's not what they're, again, I don't know.
That is nuts, man.
How do you transition from that to, oh, no, it's going to be fine. I invite him to the White House. And I mean, I do believe Biden had it out for Kamala Harris.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think Biden did, but more importantly, his wife did.
Well, yeah, the red pantsuit to go vote.
Dr. Jill does not like Kamala.
I mean, I just can't believe she didn't put the MAGA cap on as well to signal with that outfit, because she looked like she came right out of a Trump rally. It's like, and that's, you can say this was accidental, but nothing is accidental at that level of politics.
No, that's absolutely true. And who can blame her?
Nobody.
I think, honestly, this literally is best case scenario for Biden, because he effectively gets to become the sort of innocent but bumbling old man retiring, and not the guy that lost the election in disgrace because his policies sucked.
And he looked so happy giving those words yesterday. It was kind of fun.
I gotta say, for a man of 160, Biden still has a perfect smile.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of dental work. Yeah, a little liquid death green tea.
It's very good dental work, because when the guy, it's like that's the one thing he had in every video I've seen of him for the last 50 years is that smile.
The Biden smile.
Yeah. It's the kind of thing that, a con man really knows how to do well.
And it was interesting because there's some of the people, these pundits on the left, that are trying to make this out as Biden's failure. And it's like, I totally disagree. I think this is vindication for Biden that they thought they could just swap him out and somehow spending, and I've heard numbers between $1 billion and $2 billion.
Yeah, I think it's $2 billion is what I heard, because it's definitely a record. They've never spent more.
And then somebody mentioned that she was like 20 million in debt. Which my question is, where's the grift? Where did all that money go? I want to know, is Hunter Biden an election consultant? How many millions did he get?
Ukraine.
Yes. Yeah, Vladimir Zelensky,
he's the main
election
consultant in this election. Yeah.
That's the big winner in the election, no doubt about it. And it was an interesting thing, and people are going to be, going through and trying to parse all of these numbers. But it seems like a majority, and people are pointing to, like, hey, man, we're like missing between 15 and 20 million votes from the last election towards the Democrats.
Oh, shocker.
I would agree. The interesting thing, though, is they're mainly coming out of the big states. So like California, New York. So if you were to believe that there was massive amounts of cheating, those votes should have showed up in the swing states, because the votes didn't mean anything in California or New York.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Now, remember, one of the potential theories I had previous to the election, because I wasn't saying this would happen, but I said it could happen, is that the people in charge of the Democrats, knowing that there's no way in hell that Kamala could win, that they would basically take the opportunity to not bolster and not have the cheating going on, in order to be able to point at this election as proof that there was no cheating the previous election.
Right.
And that people are just paranoid idiots. Because look, fair and square. This time she lost. Previous time Trump lost. It's all fair. And then next election, they're really gonna wind it up and cheat.
It'll be interesting. They always are. That is. I also think they wanted to burn Kamala, because if Kamala's the vice president still and Biden's running and they get shellacked, then she's still kind of next in line, although you have to have the primary. So I don't know if that really matters. It's not like,
I think primary would have taken her out easily enough.
But they definitely burned her to the point here where she won't even be, I don't think she would be a part of that primary in 4 years. But you never know. She may be one of those delusional ones that are like, well, maybe I can beat somebody besides Trump. I mean, if she spends 4 years trying really hard to speak coherently, then maybe she could. Because she checks a lot of boxes. But she didn't answer any questions. Even people that were Democrats were like, she's not answering the questions. And that's not good. You have to answer the questions. You have to have some kind of policy. And she had to break from Joe Biden. The whole, oh, no, I never noticed Joe was in decline. Well, you knew that was a death knell, because the reason he was pulled was because he was in decline. So you're still like denying the truth, which is right in front of you. It's like, well, then people can see that.
Yeah.
And The View, the Sonny Hostin in the interview that people are pointing to, like, well, this is where it really turned for Kamala, was that question of, was there anything you would do differently? They were setting you up, and the answer they expected was, yeah, there are things I would do differently, so let's move on and do that. Not, no, I can't think of a single thing. Like, but
that was surprising, because it either showed a lack of preparation and she told the truth, or they had rehearsed it and they said, look, you cannot disagree with Joe because that'll show that there's always been a rift. Right. Yeah, I mean, like they had to make a choice. They had to make either a decision that either she throws Joe under the bus or she doesn't throw Joe under the bus. If she throws him under the bus, here's the thing. Once the Trump, once he's actually in office in January, presumably they let him. I mean, we don't know yet. There might be an insurrection. You never know what happens on January 6th.
Right.
There could be the Washington might burn. So,
well, I think they have some of those plans that they're still. Did you see the Letitia Jackson statement that she's like, we've dealt with this before, and if this incoming administration thinks they're gonna, kind of have then the lawyer for Trump, man, I'm like, this is, you can see the woke world crumbling because he's like, let me be clear, let me say this to Big Tish James. If you continue to, I'm cleaning up the language a little bit. I don't think he said fuck around, but he's like, if you continue to mess around, we will throw your fat ass in jail. And he did say fat ass. And he said, sweetheart, this was like the most demeaning way that this guy could have put it. It's like the end of the woke world is coming, kids.
Yep.
Everybody should applaud that.
Well, and we've talked about this, we've been doing this show like 3 years, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
And nobody listens. I can't get it. It's the best show nobody's listening to.
Yeah. It's crazy. But no, what I was going to say is we talked about this before. There's a book called Pendulum that a guy that I know wrote years ago, like I think about a decade ago, where they went back. It was two guys that I know that worked on it. They went back in history and found a pattern and between two extremes, the one extreme being collectivism and the other extreme being individualism. And it's sort of like a pendulum is swinging between these two extremes of those positions. And the pinnacle of individualism was the last one. It was 1983. And the pinnacle of collectivism was in the future when they wrote the book, but it would have been in 2023. So after 2023, the pendulum starts swinging back towards individualism, but it's a 40-year end-to-end or 80-year round trip.
Has that been speeding up at all, or it's consistent?
No. It's been consistent. And if you look back, so the individualism was 83. So the other end would have been 40 years prior to that. So 1943. Was there maybe a extreme of collectivism there?
No, not at all.
Mm-hmm. And then if you go back another 80 years into 1863, was there an extreme collectivism there?
No, not at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So basically this pattern for the Western world, it doesn't fit Asia at all. But for Europe and the United States, it goes back about, I think they went back about 400 years.
So it's more places that have a little more say in how they are governed.
Well, I think it's a cultural thing. And they did say there is a pattern for Asia. It just doesn't follow the same pattern. But I think it is a result of mortality and generational desire to improve on what the parents were doing. And so you're constantly wanting to make changes that are a little different from your parents, or maybe quite different.
Right, because you think, they're dumb.
Yeah. And so that continuous tweaking of predominant culture ends up creating this sort of a swinging, back and forth kind of scenario. Now, obviously, that's just one dimension is collectivism versus individualism. There are other dimensions. So if you were to add other dimensions to this, it wouldn't just be a line going back and forth. It would be more like a circle or whatever. Or, in 3 dimensions, it'd be a wave. But either way, it is resonating back and forth. And it is doing it with a certain amount of consistency. So when we were in 2023, and which is probably the last time I mentioned it.
Good times.
I was saying, well, if the book is right, and if their predictions and pattern observations were correct, and we can extrapolate to the future, then 2024, we should start seeing signs of collectivism diminishing. It's not going to be a huge thing. We're 39 years away from the 1983-like level of individualism that you and I remember.
And we'll be dead.
Exactly. We'll never get to experience that again.
Which is good.
It sucks.
It's only going to get better here until we're dead.
Yeah. It'll keep, but hey, there's the good news, right? It's going to, every year that we're still alive is going to be better than the previous.
And Ryan Bembro says you just took 4 minutes to describe something called a cycle.
Well, and Ryan's absolutely right. And I took 4 minutes to describe a cycle, knowing the average IQ level of our listeners.
But at least it wasn't a recumbent cycle.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck Adam. Fuck all you people that don't understand the benefits of recumbent bicycles.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about throwing somebody under the bus, right? Kamala.
Well, it's just...
Here's the thing. Kamala threw Joe under the bus, but then the Trump train hit the bus.
It certainly did. That is very true. It's been a pleasure. I've been posting on X the same thing to tons of different people, which is embrace the Schadenfreude.
Yeah. The reactions
don't steer away from it.
It's beautiful.
Lean into it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's interesting to see, again, because this is, and No Agenda has been fully in on this for more years than I remember, the whole Dimension A and Dimension B thing. And this was so clear going into this election. Both sides truly believed that there was no way their guy or gal wasn't going to win.
Just like 2016.
Yeah, this is true. Was very much like 2016. And the election night was very much like 2020 when it got to the point where Trump looked like he was doing good, but none of the swing states were really in. And they cut to Wisconsin saying, oh, there was a problem with a few of the machines. We're probably not going to know until the morning. I'm like, wait a minute. We've seen this story before.
We've heard this.
But then it diverged. It changed. And the votes came in for Trump, not for Kamala.
I like that period of about 5 minutes where Minnesota was red.
Yes. Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Poor Timmy had to be like, what?
Yeah.
What happened?
What? They haven't gotten Hennepin County counted yet. Let's hurry up and do that. Because honestly, most of Minnesota outside of the Twin Cities is red. Historically, there was blue up in Duluth and Bob Dylan country, but that's I think that even changed in the later years as well. But Hennepin County, which is where the Twin Cities are, Minneapolis, St. Paul, which is where the Somali population is, which is where they think that California is the bright model for the nation. That is fairly similar to Austin. Austin voted 70% for Kamala.
I bet you they're horribly depressed now.
Oh, everyone's walking around with their faces looking sour.
See, now that's hilarious. That is hilarious. But you watched, I flipped between the different news coverage. I didn't really go into MSNBC until it was pretty clear that which way this was going. And the one anchor on there, I don't even know what his name is, but it's the guy with the big glasses, just like, Mark Cuban and Rachel Maddow. And
yes. The smart Democrat glasses.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly. And he was going through this whole thing and he was reading off all these stats. And he's like, well, this is because the United States is still using an antiquated system that no other country uses called the Electoral College, and it must be abolished. And I wonder if somebody spoke into his ear then, because he went, oh, but it looks like Donald Trump's going to have the popular vote too.
Yeah, exactly. Whoops.
So, yeah, tell us how bad the Electoral College is, because not everybody's vote counts.
I immediately after Pennsylvania went in, I became a monarchist, and I had to post "Long live the King, Trump forever." And
oh man,
I don't think he should ever leave office. As far as I'm concerned, we're done. This is the last election ever.
Get rid of term limits.
I mean, I just don't think term limits apply to a king. Why would they?
We need a decree from Moscow.
Yeah, Moscow did it a few years back, if you hadn't noticed.
I liked it was in Georgia where there were the bomb threats in the polling places, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, no, this was Russian. And I'm like, you have no idea where that was really coming in from. This is the only time I will ever give Joy Reid any credit whatsoever. On MSNBC, she's like, well, it's Russian or somebody using a Russian VPN. We don't know, she said. And I'm like, well, okay, this is it. We don't know. So anybody reporting this stuff like, well, this came, the call came in from Russia. It's like, no, somebody got a VoIP and they bounced it through a VPN. So you don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah, it could be coming from Chirac.
Could have been Kamala Harris calling it in for all we know. You don't know. So the whole thing trying to push, they're trying to push the Russian thing. But this is the issue with the leftist talking heads. And there's the one guy that we roast all the time on Planet Rage. His name's David Pakman. And I was trying to avoid anything he has said until Monday so I can be surprised. But somebody pointed me to a post of his that said, I lost 10,000, subscribers overnight. People are checking out of politics. And the response to him was great because people pointed out, well, you've been lying to them constantly and you were so wrong. And this has been my question through this whole thing. If you know somebody is lying to you or somebody is completely inaccurate reporting things over and over, why would you tune in? It's like, it doesn't make any sense. It's a waste of your time if you realize that the person on the other end is either an imbecile and can't get it right or is intentionally gaslighting you.
Yeah.
It's like, that's why they went away. But these leftists, man, it's fun to watch the Keith Olbermanns and the Mark Cuban. I'll give him credit. He was the first one on election night. I know he's not a true Democrat.
American?
Baby.
Oh.
But he was the first one on the socials on X to be like, congratulations, Donald Trump, you won fair and square. Once he said that, I think he kind of took away a lot of the games that the other more liberal Democrats might have done with the, we need to look at how this happened. How could this even, it's impossible.
Yeah.
Which is why I feel bad for all of these younger children, all of these women who are just breaking down emotionally because they can't even believe it happened. It's like, well, your side did not prepare you. You feel good? You're like, I will bathe in your tears.
Yeah, no, I see this is a mistake that I think a lot of people make. And Ben is one of the people that I consider making this mistake, incidentally, is they think that when you win a battle, it's time to stop attacking and celebrate. And that's not how we do things in the old country. When you win a battle is when you push harder.
It is when you make
it's time to reopen the asylums, is what I'm saying. Reopen the asylums. We know who needs to go there.
Little gloating and showboating right here on Unrelenting.
Well, you showboat and I'll reopen the asylums.
Well, we do need some mental health care. So
we
I
need
think
some Arkhams around the country, baby.
There's a Joker and Harley Quinn reference. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Gene going down for the geek, the nerd vote right here.
Yeah, what a shocker.
I know on this show. I know. I see you're on YouTube all over, man. Now all of a sudden I got Gene videos popping up in my YouTube feed. I'm like, I don't want that.
You know what? YouTube likes me. I've damn near tripled my subscribers in 1 week.
What have you been doing? Playing games? I mean, I keep seeing it pop up.
I started, I was on my trip to other places. And so I had my laptop, my gaming laptop. I brought a PC instead of a Mac this time. So I have my gaming laptop. So I played some games. And then some of the guys that I was playing games with were new. And so started kind of asking the same questions. And me being lazy, I said, you know what? I'm going to record a video for you. So the first video I put out for that game was literally, I'm making this for blah, blah, blah. But if anybody else gets a benefit, great. So I put that out and, nothing for a couple of days. And now all of a sudden, like I started getting a bunch of comments from people on that thing. And I'm thinking, oh, well, let me put out a couple more training videos. And I did that. And I've been basically putting out like a video a day for the last week, including after I came back.
So he said consistency's it.
Yeah, consistency's it. And not only so I'm still getting about the same rate that you would expect. I'm getting about 1.5% of the people that watch the video actually subscribing to the channel. But they're doing it consistently. And and I've gotten at this point, I think it's something like 6,000 hours worth of views of about 2 hours worth of videos.
Well, that's not bad.
I mean, it's a crazy number. And I've shown up, actually, one of the videos, I was looking at the stats, one of the videos has shown up in recommended from YouTube 70,000 times. Like, what the hell, man? I tried doing this many times over the years. I never once had anything catch. I'd get like 5 people watching a video. Now, every video I put out is like 10,000 people plus.
You hit the right little demographic, I think, because it did pop up, and it wasn't just in my list of things that I'm subscribed to, because you guilted everybody and like, please subscribe to me.
Yeah, I know.
No, it's showing up in like the top thing when you in the Roku app anyway, which is like what our recommendations for what you want to watch, and I'm like, there's Gene.
Yeah. What the hell?
I know. It's like, come on, no, bad algo. Bad algo. And I've seen stories that YouTube Premium's about to go up in price. I don't know if this is accurate.
Well, if it does, though, they'll have a hey, pay for a year on Black Friday.
Yeah, because it looks like there is a maybe a light version, but I'm wondering if this is, because I know Patreon was all fucking over emailing because of the new rules with Apple, that all of a sudden Apple has to take all of the. So I'm wondering if this is just a revenue thing within the Apple iPhone ecosystem. Because I haven't seen anything about a price increase, but I didn't subscribe through Apple.
Yeah. Well, I know X charges more if you do it through Apple versus if you do it direct.
So I'm wondering if that's what YouTube is doing, and all of these places are just missing the fact that it's only going up. And I'm not sure, but I'll have to look more into that.
I thought YouTube already went up like 3-4 months ago.
I thought so, but not to the point to where they're like, it's going up hugely. But if Apple takes like 30%,
yeah, that's what they do.
Then that $20, they're like, well, if we need to add there you'd be $6, and then they're going to take money on the 6, so you really have to add 10 in order to get the $20 that you want, because Apple's going to take the third of it. Then it makes sense.
Yeah, and it's a great deal for Apple because they're making more money off of that app tax than they are off selling products at this point.
Well, yeah. That's a gold mine, really. Let other people do all the work.
But they're all like that. Google does the exact same thing for YouTube. Amazon, Jeff Bezos' company, does the exact same thing for Twitch. Like all these pass-throughs. Hey, would you like to donate some money to this person? And we'll take a big chunk of it.
That's a horrible percentage. I am fine with what YouTube takes for you to put your videos up there, because I think everybody's aware that videos are a lot of bandwidth.
Yeah.
And to keep a server up and running, I get that. So take whatever percentage you need to on that. But yeah, I don't like when somebody wants to donate money directly. I don't understand why anybody on YouTube doesn't make sure that they point people to a PayPal or a Venmo. And I know a lot of them do. But I'd be like, at the very last resort, go to PayPal because we only, or to go to YouTube because we see only like 40% of that.
Yeah.
These bastards, these capitalists.
Twitch takes half.
Yeah, but again, I guess I understand that to a certain extent. They're providing the bandwidth. They're going to figure for you to get those.
Actually, they used to take 60%, I guess. I think they're down to 50, but
hey, maybe Donald Trump can fix all of this.
It's insane. Well, I don't know what X takes. That's a good question, because I don't have the subscribers on X to get monetized at all. But I know that there's quite a few people that have built up during the election, built up a very large audience, and they're getting money off X.
I am hoping Donald Trump goes through with that no taxes on tips. Every podcaster in the world will be like, oh yeah.
That's a tip. That's not income. That's a tip.
No doubt. Yeah. It's definitely tips.
I think there'll be a ton of business built on that if that gets pushed through Congress. Trump has nothing to do with this. It's a Congress thing.
Right. But
they're the ones in charge of all taxation.
Right. But if the Republicans are, no doubt they're controlling.
Are we forgetting about all the rhinos?
I know there are some.
Is that what's happening here?
I know there are some, but I think we're going to have
like half the Republicans in the House are rhinos.
Going to have a couple of years of fun, I think.
I hope so. I hope they don't chicken out.
But this is also where the difference comes in for the value for value model created by Adam Curry, the Podfather. Because if you're Bill O'Reilly and you're charging $50 a year to get your content, that's not a tip. That's a service because you have to pay to get it. The tips only exist if they are optional.
That's an interesting idea. So if we define a tip as something that is option based,
right?
Like it's a true gratuity,
right?
It's not did you forget to tip? You're supposed to tip,
right?
Because in restaurants, honestly, tips are not tips. Tips are requirements, and so they should be taxed. I'm talking about us podcasters, not the restaurant industry.
Right?
Those people, they ought to pay taxes. We not so much.
Matt, podcaster, this is 100% gratuity. We are offering a service.
Yeah.
Out of the goodness of our hearts.
I mean, we're just like a church, You're fully able to just make a decision in your heart, whether you're evil or good, and that will be determined by your donation. So really, I don't see why that would be taxed.
Welcome to the Church of Unrelenting, where you get an eye patch and a recumbent bike, and then you just go on your merry way.
An eye patch?
I need one.
Are you wearing one?
No, I should, but I just usually keep that eye closed when trying to read the screen. So I should just go the full pirate look.
Yeah.
But if
what's his face does it? I saw the guy I usually refer to as Pirate John McCain.
Right, the representative.
The representative
but
from
he
Texas.
actually lost the eye physically, so that's a little different.
I don't care if he lost it. He made a big thing about wearing the pirate patch. So he's Pirate John McCain, and he votes like McCain. He's one of the ultimate rhinos. And he was on that British guy's show. What's his name?
Piers Morgan?
That's the guy. Yeah. So I love how British guy. That one. Piers Morgan.
Piers Morgan, of course. That's the only British guy who has a show.
Right. Yeah. So, no, it's not. There's also the other guy that
Russell Brand.
Yeah, exactly. Him.
This is the only way this show works. Guess who Gene is thinking of?
Right. But luckily, you do a pretty good job of that guessing.
Take that B12. Everybody take a B12 break. It's that time of the show. If you got your B12, you pop them in your mouth and it's the only way.
Pop the B12. So he had him on, and it was a question of like, now that Trump's elected, now what? And the expression on Pirate McCain's face the whole time that he's not talking while he's sitting there looks like his favorite dog just got killed. I mean, he looks miserable, absolutely miserable. And then once he starts talking, of course, like, well, the Republicans had a great election cycle. You know, we're going to have, looks like all three branches. It'll be great. And then as soon as he shuts up again, he just looks miserable. So he's putting on a brave face, pretending to be an actual Republican, because he knows that his ilk, the fake Republicans, the rhinos, are no longer going to be leading the Republican Party.
Right. It's the MAGAs, and you better fall into line. Otherwise, you may lose.
Remember, these are the people that on her first term wouldn't let Marjorie Taylor Greene serve on any committee. You can't impose that without Republican help, and Republicans like him helped.
When your favorite Luna's back.
Oh, yeah. She is my favorite. You're absolutely right about that.
Make America great again. Well, that's why I thought it was funny. One of the leftist talking heads, I don't remember which one, was already warning like, oh, well, everybody remember, usually at the midterms, the party that's really in power loses a lot of seats. So you better govern really carefully. Otherwise, you'll lose all your seats in 2 years. It's like, fuck you.
Well, that's actually true. I think that is a very important thing to remember, is that people assume they're going to hold on to what they get all 4 years. And that's historically never the case.
No, so you got to use it now.
Rare. You have to. Yeah. And that's why you can't wait for your last 2 years in office. Trump has to pardon every January 6th or the first day in office. You got to get this shit out of the way. Don't, I'm going to do that my last day as president. No, you cannot do that. You have to make all the things that people actually elected you to do. You have to make them all happen in the first 2 years.
There is a strong push from what I'm reading for Biden to pardon Trump on all federal crimes. Do you think there's any chance that's going to happen?
I thought I was saying that probably 6 months ago. I think that would be something that would have helped Biden while he was still running.
Yes.
That he should have done.
Yes. We talked about that because I fully agreed. It's like, this would be, I'm the adult in the room. I don't like what's going on. So I am going to make sure that this election is not sullied by all of these lawsuits. And he would have been able to have Kathy Hochul over in New York do the same thing and be like, we need to clean this up. And they might have won. That's the hilarious part about it.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. This is where I think, there is a different style that the liberals and the conservatives have. And the conservatives want to be magnanimous and gracious when they win. The liberals never do that. They push harder when they win. But the liberals, even when they lose, they're the embodiment of that drawing that I'm sure you've seen that's popular of the frog being eaten by the egret while its hands are trying to choke the egret's throat. It's like, dude, you lost, like you've eaten, right? You're going to be dead shortly, and you're still acting as though you have some say in the matter by trying to choke the egret. It ain't going to happen. You're dead. So if we start seeing these, if we do start seeing bricks showing up on street corners, that's an example of what I'm talking about. It's that whole idea of like, instead of moving on and regrouping, they just keep using the same old tactics and they think they're going to work.
Right. And I know I have a certain bias, but it would appear to me at this point, the Republicans, even though, the leftist media, who of course has their bias, want to tell you they're the horrific extremists. It's like, I see the Republican Party still as the conservative party that would be more common sense, that more middle America is going to agree with. And the Democrats used to be the party of the people when it was, we were protecting your rights as unions and all this, when it was needed to protect them. And now the left has been swung into the likes of the Squad with AOC and Ilhan Omar, and they had so much influence for whatever reason over Joey. I don't know why, because Joey could have been a moderate, especially if they had any clue that it was going to be a one-term presidency. At his age, I don't know how you didn't assume that.
I know, right?
But going into that far left, but this is what happens because I view them as the extremists. And again, maybe this is just my bias. The extremists, when they see that the finish line is getting closer, they want to keep amping it up because they know if they let it go too long, it might be pulled out from under them like it just was. And that's where the problems occur, because they know once that rug is pulled out from under them, it's not like they can win in 4 years and be where they are now. It's like, no, Trump's probably going to take that whole progressive left movement and kick it back
8 more
12
years.
years.
8 more years.
Right. It's going to kick it back a long, and if things get better, and I think they will.
So you don't think they're going to run AOC in 4 years?
I don't think they can. I think the only chance they have of winning would be to do somebody that is somewhat sane. The name I'm hearing, and of course, mass speculation would be Josh Shapiro, who should have probably been picked as the vice president to Kamala.
Well, I don't think they're going to do that. We're never going to have a Jewish president. It's not going to happen.
Oh, but wouldn't you be out there celebrating with all your brothers and sisters that this is a country that does not see?
No, I don't want the Jews blamed for more problems. No, keep the Jews out of the White House. Thank you.
Like, yeah, don't want those issues. Don't want those problems.
No.
But I think it is going, this is, and there will obviously be primaries. But I think if things go well for the next 4 years, J.D. Vance is going to have a huge advantage.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think J.D. Vance, the only question at this point would be, is the vice president Nikki Haley or Tulsi Gabbard?
It's definitely not Nikki Haley because she's a cunt. It's either Tulsi or Vivek. Yeah,
and I think because
Nikki Haley is the problem. Nikki Haley is what brought us Biden. She's a total rhino.
Yeah, this is true. It just, as long as, if there is no correcting, of course, then it'll definitely J.D. Vance huge advantage, because I don't see Tulsi
if Nikki Haley is involved in anything,
Vivek,
that means we've been duped and lied to, because she should not be anywhere near power.
Well, she certainly didn't seem to hold much this time around. Didn't have, again, she didn't go out there. She was more like, I don't know if I want to endorse Trump for how long, and finally did. Don't think that had although her swing had about as much as a Taylor Swift swing, obviously. Like none. Like people don't go to these.
Speaking of people that I'd be in prison right now.
No, to be fair.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's the only one keeping the economy going. I think she's a bigger business than Apple right now.
It probably is.
That's sad, but there's a lot of money coming in from that. Although the tour is ending, so then she can just go. She could pull a Tina Turner.
I agree.
Move to Switzerland, be like, I'm out of here.
That or Madonna.
True. They all end up moving over into Europe somewhere.
Yeah, they all like paying more taxes. It's amazing.
Like, well, this is much better than being in that horrible country. I loved that the Google reported that how to immigrate into Canada was one of the top searches on election night.
That's great.
And I think what would be great is if the Venezuelan gangs and the criminals that have crossed into our country all decide they need to keep moving north into Canada. I think that would be great.
Mm-hmm.
I am fine with the law-abiding citizens sticking around and trying to get their citizenship. That I applaud, because when I look at the exit results from CNN, the two groups that swung big time from the last election, 18 to 30-year-olds and Latino men and Latino women. It's like, wow. Maybe.
Well, the single biggest factor was men. Men voted for Trump about 2-1.
But I think more women still voted, which was a very interesting stat.
Well, that's because they keep killing men, so there's fewer of us.
That may be true. That may be true, but the reality is this. The Democrats, at least the narrative, seem to believe that if they let a bunch of people come in from Cuba and Venezuela and Mexico, that they were all going to vote Democrat. And all of these countries are highly religious and do not fucking like let's kill babies.
Well, there's a bigger issue is these countries have socialism and people have seen what socialism looks like. And that's not why they're moving to the United States.
No, and this is it. This is it. They come to the United States in the hopes of making a better life, not to be on the dole, not to live just above the poverty line, not to just have enough food. They want to be successful.
Yep.
Which means they want to work, unlike what the Democrats think. It's like, hey, come on in. I'm fine with that.
And anyone who's ever driven by a Home Depot is well aware of that.
It's like, I can tell you, if you are a law-abiding person and you cross the border legally or illegally and you make a life and you create a business or get a job and make money and buy a house, I say stay. I don't care. That's fine. We need more people to do that. It's just that you can't have this is where the Republicans always get pointed to like, oh, you're racist. It's like, no, but we can't take people in if we have to be the nanny state to them, if we have to provide everything for them. It's like, I know.
Yeah, which is what Europe does.
Yeah. And this is why I think you're still going to see places like Ireland start getting a little bit more like they were in the Troubles if the number of migrants coming in and disrupting things keeps rising. Because
Poland just bans all migrants. I think that's the attitude everybody ought to have.
Well, ban the migrants that are going to be a drain on your society. That's it.
Yeah, it's called migrants. Yeah.
Well, I mean, again, not all of them. Elon was a migrant.
No, all of them. No, he wasn't.
He was born in South Africa, correct?
Yes.
Well, then how did he get here if he didn't migrate?
Well, he wasn't a migrant.
Well, he was legally.
His mom's Canadian. He moved to Canada and then snuck across the border.
Well, that's the epitome of a migrant.
I know. No, he didn't sneak. He got a.
Was Elon in like the trunk of a car coming in or something?
Yeah, exactly. He got a student visa to go to college in the United States.
That is, and I liked that this is how far down the rabbit hole some of these MSNBC folks, and maybe it was on some of the other networks as well, that were like, we need to investigate Elon. We can deport him.
Yeah, well, you can't deport him. But
I know he's a citizen.
Technically, he did overstay his student visa.
Oh, no. And they were like, we have to take away all of his government contracts. I'm like, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know how the...
good luck with that now.
Uh-huh. It's like...
he's going to be running the government.
Yeah. And well, he's going to be one of them that... ladies and gentlemen, you saw what Elon did to Twitter. How many millions of people did Twitter have working for them when he took over?
80% were fired, which is not enough, if you ask me. But
if you put that into perspective and go...
I'm totally applying, dude. As soon as they get their actual community off the ground, I am so applying. This is literally what I've got the most experience in, is firing people.
That would be great.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love that. That would make the podcast even better.
Oh, totally. No, if I can get a job firing government workers, dude.
Geez, like, I'll work for free.
I'm not going to say that, but you know, but it would be extremely an enjoyable process.
Yeah. And we know that there is so much that could be trimmed. RFK is saying there are whole portions of government agencies that have to go.
Yeah, like Department of Education, Department of Health.
Yeah.
The FBI.
Well, I think we need an FBI, but I think it needs to be restructured.
That was never part of the Charter of the United States to have a government police force. We absolutely do not. We have state police forces.
Yeah, I understand that, but I think there is some need in today's world where it is so easy to physically move around and to commit crimes. I mean, it's very easy for somebody in California to scam somebody. I can tell you very simply why
we don't need a federal police force is the reason we did need one previously. That was a good rationalization for having it was due to a lack of ability to communicate quickly. So when John Dillinger moved around, you're absolutely right. It was like, well, is it the Chicago police that's chasing them? Is it the Cook County? Is it, the Wisconsin? It's like, oh, he's gone. But now we have all these, what are they called? Synergy centers where the communication between a variety of different groups of law enforcement is all digitally tied together, where somebody in California can know literally within seconds whether somebody in Massachusetts is looking for someone. It's like you no longer need a federal authority that kind of centralizes criminals because the local authorities can communicate with each other at the speed of light now.
But I still think you need this just for the investigation, or what
I think you're just used to it. We didn't used to have a federal police force.
Well, what if again, if there are crimes that move beyond one jurisdiction, it's hard to be like, well, let's just do this.
Well, there's no crime that has no jurisdiction.
But they can change.
They can change, but you can also move people from, and that happens right now. Like if Trump is charged in New York and he's charged in Georgia and he's serving time in New York, they will move him to Georgia for his charges there. Like you don't need federal for that. And incidentally, Trump's not been charged on any federal charges.
Well, then who would be able to investigate, say, a rogue police force? Say the police force of Chicago went rogue.
Mm-hmm.
Then who gets to investigate that? Because they're not going to investigate themselves. I mean, there needs to be some. Well, there's
usually a county. So it'd be county sheriff's office would investigate the local police departments.
Bemrose says quite the stretch. Yeah, cops going bad, Bemrose. That's your bit.
I can show you videos of county police shutting down a local police department that was being charged with some corruption charges.
Now I can see, rather than having a FBI, I can see where you can raise the amount or widen the amount of jurisdiction local can have where these things. So if something starts in Chicago, you don't have to, your jurisdiction as a Chicago cop. If you need to go into Indiana, Wisconsin, Florida, wherever it is, instead of the FBI being a federal thing, that maybe it's just a combination of local authorities that work together.
And they do already. Infusion centers. This is a thing. It's already happening. The FBI is a large part of it, but they can also be removed, and the fusion centers will still operate. And different police departments, different law enforcement in general, can communicate very effectively today. I mean, this is not the 1930s where the fastest method of communication was having a telephone operator girl connect you to a different city.
Number, please.
It's all instant. Exactly. It's all instant communication right now.
It's all encrypted.
And incidentally, if you remember the big failure of 9/11, was that half the government agencies had information that these guys were up to no good, and half of them didn't have information. So the problem wasn't that we didn't have enough agencies, even though after that the TSA was created. The problem was that we had enough agencies who didn't want to share because they wanted the credit.
We also need massive amounts of transparency then as well, so you don't have exactly that, which is the whatever police department thinking they're going to crack a big case and not asking for any assistance because they believe they can do it on their own. This is where there is sometimes, I think, a need for something a little bit more, but I've never really thought about the structuring and what is or is not needed. But I know there's a lot of bloat in all of these governmental agencies. At the very least, I think you need to cut down. I mean, and if there are bad apples, I think there's like 10% bad apples in everything, whether that's, the feds or the police force or whatever, or popes. I don't like the new pope. He's no good. So you have to have a way to deal with that. I mean, I think we can get rid of the IRS. That would be a great idea. Maybe Trump should work on getting rid of the income tax as a whole.
There's some mention of that.
It's like, well, this was, what was his name out in New York?
But I think Forbes, you're going to need to start gradually. Like, it's not going to be a complete thing. Maybe you start with tips.
Right. Well, remember Forbes? Didn't he want just like a 10% across the board?
Flat tax. I mean, the flat tax concept has been around. There's really two ways to fund the government. There's three ways, but we're not going to talk about the third way. But
just take over other countries and take their shit.
The main two ways, I mean, back in the good old days, that's how you did it, is you funded the government by winning wars rather than by taxing your people.
Well, you just go nuke, Iran, and you take all their oil and you're like, ha.
Well, we already are doing that in Syria. We're stealing oil from Syria now, have been for years, not paying for it. But that's going into private pockets, not into the tax fund. But the two ways is we can have a flat tax, we can have a value added tax like Europe has, or like Texas, for example, doesn't have a state income tax, but we have a slightly higher sales tax here, higher than some states at least, but not as high as some other states that still have
like
state
Illinois.
income tax.
I think Cook County is up for like 11% sales tax or something crazy like that.
And ours here is 6.5% state tax. And then because I live in Austin, I'm paying like 8.5%.
Well, and for a pound of butter, you're paying like $17.38.
But that's the normal price of butter. What are you talking about?
It exactly is. I mean, I didn't see this, but I read that there was even a back and forth between Mika and Joe on Morning Joe. And he was making a comment about somebody saying butter was $3 a stick or whatever. And he was saying how crazy that is. And Mika's like, no, it's like $7 here. And he's like, what? Yeah. How can it be? It's like $7 for butter?
Yeah. So there was I didn't see this, but there was a comment. I think I was watching Daily Wire and they were, celebrating and talking about the fact that JD Vance passed the food shopping test. Apparently he was on some show, which I didn't see, but where they had quizzed him about, well, what is the price of milk today? And he said, well, I think it was $3.49 for a half gallon. And that's close enough. It depends on if you're buying generic milk or you're buying the free
highly filtered
grass cows with massage milk.
Right.
That there is a range there, but he's in the right ballpark. He's pretty much where like cheap milk is right now. And none of the other politicians have any clue. They think milk is like $1 a gallon.
Yeah. Well, they don't go and do their own shopping.
Oh, God, no. They don't even order it online themselves.
Right. Well, this is it. And nor do they care what the price was. They wouldn't even
Not
pay
really.
any attention to the price.
No. And we've talked about this before too. My take on it is, for anyone that is making right now in the current economy over $250,000 a year, it really doesn't matter. Like, inflation only matters in the sense that it means that your investments need to be working harder to outpace it.
Right.
But inflation has no impact on your day-to-day life. You don't care with the price of gas. Gas could be $10 a gallon. It really doesn't matter if you're making over $250 a year. Food prices don't matter, because honestly, when you go out to a restaurant, you're going to drop probably $200-$300 anyway.
Oh yeah, it's getting insane. It is getting insane. I was looking at the menu for one of the pubs that is by where my dad's in rehab right now for his to get a little bit stronger. And the thing I noticed, the burgers were really expensive. I think maybe it was like $19.99, something like that. But
yeah, I was going to say $17 because that's what I've been seeing for burgers these days.
And the thing that really caught my eye was, if you wanted to add a single fried egg to the top of the burger.
Oh, $3.
Yep. It used to be $1 everywhere.
Yeah,
you want a fried egg
here.
$1. $3 for one egg.
Yeah, one egg. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, it is. It is crazy. But what I was going to finish with, that thought of 250 today, people might think, well, 250, that's a really high salary. It's like, not really, because 250 today is about $100,000 in the year 2000.
Means I need a lot more tips. Boost.
And a lot of people, including myself, were making 100,000 in 2000.
And now you can barely afford to keep your caviar guy.
Dude, I haven't talked to my caviar guy since New Year's last year. That's how bad it is.
You weren't throwing a big party for the, once you had your mission completed in Moscow, you didn't maybe use somebody else's caviar guy and champagne guy.
Okay, well, I mean, if you want to go there, well, sure, I've had caviar. I'm just saying, I haven't used my guy. My guy has not been used.
Happy days are here again.
Mm-hmm.
What's the world going to be like in 2 to 4 years? Better than it was going to be.
Fast, how quick everybody works.
This is true. I mean, the interesting thing, of course, Donald Trump coming in as a lame duck already, which means he can pretty much do whatever he wants. I mean, he can't be elected again. And you can't
he's not a lame duck, dude. He's got the Senate. He's got the House. He's got himself.
Right. Hey, baby, how you doing?
And most importantly of all, he has Musk.
Oh, yeah. And I'm just saying, he can not have to worry about re-election, does not have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
It's just the job at hand.
That's a freedom. He can actually, because he doesn't have to worry about re-election, he can do the things that he promised instead of being told that if you do that, you're really going to hurt the party. Hey, what party? Party didn't elect him. MAGA elected him, which is literally his party.
Yeah.
Like, the Republicans need to take a step back. The Republicans didn't do shit for Trump.
Oh, I agree.
MAGA
is
his party
the
did.
Difference.
Yeah, Elon's dark MAGA.
The guy's funny, man. I'll give him that. And
he's on the spectrum.
I think that, and I talked about this weeks and weeks ago, the fact that the last election, you had Twitter in the hands of the left, and you had Mark Zuckerberg put in $400 million. When you flip that to this year, and you have Elon in control of X, and no Zuckerbucks and Elon money going in, it was close enough last time where I don't know how you wouldn't be like, well, this has to make a difference. Knowing where people get most of their news, which is social media. It's amazing. I mean, Bemrose was the first person I ever heard that, like, I get my news through memes. I'm like, well, I don't pay any attention to memes. But if there's a lot of people that do get their news through memes, then Elon owning X and letting the Republicans go crazy with all the memes definitely made an impact.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Like, go Elon. And I think he believed that if Trump didn't win, pretty much he was screwed when it came to a whole bunch of different things anyway. So,
yeah, well, he's been extremely frustrated, and I think this greatly contributed to him at the government interference with his progress of space. The California has been their board of wetland birds or some bullshit basically is keeping him from doing more launches out in California, which out of Vandenberg, which is literally he's fulfilling government military spy satellite contracts.
Right.
And the California's, board of wild bird protection or whatever the fuck they are, is saying, no, it's more important to not have the birds suffer any hearing loss. Okay. All right. Well, see, that's an issue of a state just fucking the country over right there.
Yeah, because they're insane.
Yeah, they are insane. And that's who lives there.
Well, that was the prediction from
so I finished his thought. So he's in Texas with the Starship, but Texas is fine in terms of its regulation of, deaf birds. We don't care. We'll eat them. But the federal oversight from the FAA is still a problem for him for doing launches from Texas because they keep sticking their nose in where no one's asking them and wanting to, for the good of Texas, who's not asking themselves, they're going to make sure that these launches don't happen. It's insanity. And so I think he really felt like if he wants to get to Mars, he needs to get rid of the U.S. government and put in a different government.
And he did.
And he did.
He made it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. In a lot of ways.
And it was
the guy's paying $1 million a day to people.
Well, and the way that the left broke down on that, like, oh no,
he's buying votes.
Oh yeah, but he's not. And again, this is where reality and your fantasy worlds, do not go together. It's like, no, he's just saying, sign this petition and I'll give you $1 million. He's not buying your vote.
No. But
they have no idea the semantics and all these things. And it was amazing how quick a lot of these people in the media went from loving Elon Musk to making him public enemy number one.
And that's the thing is Elon was never really a liberal. He was just a kind of a centrist techie dude who liked the idea of electric cars. And if selling electric cars to Californians means talking about how they don't pollute, then that's what you say.
Right.
It's not like he's for pollution. Nobody's for pollution, but he's not one of the guys that's going to lay across a road to keep ICE engine cars from driving.
And that's how Elon and Trump got together, because Trump's like, I still like gas cars, but I think people should have a choice. So it's like, well, yes, it's a question of whether you get to choose your destiny or whether it is forced upon you.
Yeah.
And the prediction from Bill O'Reilly was the next governor of California will be Kamala Harris. He believes that's where she's going to wind up. And it would all make perfect sense, wouldn't it?
You think Gavin's ready to move on?
Well, I think he's going to try the big stage. So it's just a question of whether or not he expels himself from California. I think he may have already done too much damage to California to even get on the big stage at this point, because the radical left has taken a hit. I think for Democrats to come back, I don't think this is a case of keep pushing the same radical left agenda and you're going to win the next time. I think the Democrats need to be more common sense based, more what middle America might vote for.
Yeah.
And I guess that'll be the question, who they decide they're going to put up there.
Hey, got a note from comic strip blogger.
Oh, CSB?
Not trying to peddle his channel, but saying, tried looking for your channel, Gene can't find it.
Oh, no, he's looking for your YouTube channel.
Yes, my YouTube's. I guess we talked about how it's growing, and then being a completely non-marketing person, I failed to provide an address of where you should go.
Because it's not Sir Gene at all. It's
not Sir Gene at all. It's Atlas Rand Gaming. But we will certainly have a link that I will. I don't even actually need to send you a link because you already got the channel popping up on your YouTube. You can just copy it from there.
Do we really want
put
that,
it in the notes for this show. So if you're listening, yes, there will be a link. And by the way, I've always said this, and I mean it. I appreciate when people subscribe, even if they have no interest in gaming and no intention in ever watching a single video. I don't care. All I'm looking for is once I get over 1,000 subscriptions, then I can start accepting money. And it's not going to be your money because you're not going there to watch the videos about video games. It's going to be money from people that are going there to watch the videos from video games. But until I get to 1,000 subscribers, I literally can't even flip that option on.
I thought we had it in the show notes, but I guess we just have the buy Gene's spaceships, play truck sim with Gene, all these good things.
Yeah, there's some trucks, but all the latest stuff is a game called Elite Dangerous.
Ooh, sounds
where
elite.
Surprise, surprise, you fly spaceships.
Like would have figured if there's anything Earth-based, no, Gene's not. He's got to be in space. Gene is flying high.
It's all about the space, baby. But I actually, and I'm too modest to say it, of course, but I actually managed to get to be in first place in a contest last week that ran the whole week. And I got the first place across the whole game.
Did you get a free recumbent bike for that?
I did not get a free recumbent bike. I did get 1 billion in-game money.
It does look like as we were doing the show, was this or no? That was from they're saying November 6th. The Biden-Harris DOJ drops their case. I don't think No Beret is posting that. I don't think that has happened as of yet.
So CSB's got a what looks like a computer-generated cartoon of two anime-headed looking characters wearing tracksuits, Adidas tracksuits, and one of them's wearing a shorts version of the tracksuit, and the other one's wearing the pants version, and they're both wearing socks with flip-flops, which is great.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not wearing flip-flops right now, but I do got some compression stockings on. I mean, these things are very, very sexy, let me tell you.
Oh, yeah. The ladies want to see that.
I love that. Show us the legs, buddy boy.
Yeah. Compression stockings. It's good when a man describes what he's wearing as stockings.
Well, that's what they call them. Compression socks / stockings.
Did you buy them from the ladies section by chance?
No, I bought them from Amazon, and I made somebody like Bemrose bring them to my doorstep.
Nice. And they go up to your thighs, I gather?
They go up to the knees. I mean, yeah, not any higher than that. But I did order some Chinese, off-brand shorts because they're like 5 pairs of shorts for like $25. And the wife looked at them. She's like, they really show off your junk. I'm like, see, these are good shorts. These are good. A lot of support. You got to have it. Gotta have it. Like, speaking of support, we are a value for value podcast. You see how quickly I went from talking about my junk?
That was great until you started in breaking the fourth wall and talking about how great you went from one to the other. It was a great transition until it wasn't.
Yeah, it was a segue, baby. Yeah. We got a few people to thank for today's show. It's the first one in 3
and you make
weeks.
fun of recumbent bikes with your segues.
I know. I mean, get it. Now, if they only made a recumbent bike version of a Segway, that would have been cool.
A recumbent Segway. You sit on it and lean.
Yes. And then you go forward or backwards. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Weenie Wawa came in with his monthly $10.80.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Probably wondering why.
He's forgotten about it.
Well, that's the best part of the renewing constantly.
Oh, dude, that just good old boys. That like renewing is how we get money.
You're like, people just keep forgetting we're even a show. Woo!
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Seifert came in with his $5 monthly.
Nice.
No beret. He's channeling his inner CSB because he sent in $2 through PayPal. And then he said, hey, listener, check out Planet Rage, the best podcast duo on the internet. Most Mondays around 1 p.m. Central Time.
Yeah. New rule. We don't read anything under $10. So
also,
do better.
Go Ukraine, beat Russia. Well, there's none of that now. They're both.
No.
Both.
Yeah,
everybody's like, what? Oh, come on, Trump, save us, save us, save us.
There is no such country as Ukraine anymore.
Donald Trump is going to make sure of that, you fools.
Yeah. It's always been Russia. It's always going to be Russia.
Ooh, a lazy boy with wheels. Now, that sounds like something you could have me in on,
Lazy
Ben
boy
Rose.
with wheels.
I would
and a
go,
joystick.
Right. I would go outside a lot more if I could just go up and down in a lazy boy.
And wasn't there a cartoon about that or something?
I thought maybe like a Family Guy thing of some sort.
No. Well, no. I thought it was like some futuristic kind of robot cartoon or something.
Well, only you would know about that.
Robots, future, sure.
And I don't know if you got your half, but CSB did boost 4848, but I don't think Get Albie was working at the time for either of us. No. So I'm just like, I'm moving everything to my node, man. Fuck this Get Albie stuff.
Fuck this, yeah.
He says, please subscribe to podcasts from grumpyoldames.com. Well, we like them. That is Lady Vox and Lady Black Dame Loca of the Texas Hot Glass. They're ambassadors of mature womanhood. I don't know if they want you to say that, though, CSB, that they're mature womanhood. They're the moms you should have listened to when you were kids, but didn't. Yo, CSB.
Interesting.
Yeah. But I've
never heard of them.
They just started up. They're no agenda.
And they're already
days.
Advertising.
Well, CSB is for them. I helped them with the theme song and getting them hooked up with their,
Did you use the Sono?
The Sono. No, it was all a cappella, and Vox is a singer in her life. So,
okay. So they're okay on the music part.
And she just sent me a couple audio tracks, and one was her doing a lower voice, but going grumpity, grumpity, grumpity. So I just did that part, and then
that should be
stitched
you
together.
You could do that with your hands tied behind your back.
Right. And you don't even need the big bottom, but the big bottom helps, man. Let me tell you.
I bet it does.
But thanks for the boost, ESB, and no beret, even $2. Really, come on, man. This is now a Trumpian.
Is this the special thing that he kept yapping about for a week when we didn't do the show because we were off?
Probably.
He was like, "Oh, I sent a special donation. You guys make sure you read it."
Yeah, $2. Come on, no beret.
Okay, this is your one and only time that for $2 you're going to get diddly squat read, dude. It's $10. We don't read it. It's the same thing for the whatchamacallit, for the
boosts.
The boosts. It's like the days of reading. No, Trump's now in charge, boys. We don't read that cheap shit. We like our monthly subscribers that don't say a goddamn thing and just send us money.
That's right. Welcome to Unrelenting. Send us money and shut the fuck up.
Pretty much. Yeah, exactly.
We need all the boost. The boost, bring in all the boosts, but it got to be big boosts. Now, I was looking at the crypto because, I mean, you're probably like, finally, the crypto is going up. The crypto is going up.
The crypto isn't just going up. Bitcoin is up 10,000.
So here's a question for you. If I'm going to, and I think I am, buy a new Mac Mini.
Holy shit, sorry. I just looked at Tesla. Holy fuck.
How's your investment doing, Gene?
Tesla, I think I just made a shit ton of money.
Oh, well, send me some, Gene. Could you boost random
I have
thoughts?
Tesla. Tesla's one of mine. And
you own Tesla?
It went from 260 to 316.
See, people like Elon.
I think the market realizes that with Elon in charge, he's not going to be losing money.
Well, here's the whole thing. Elon, a lot of his business, as you just said, had been hampered by red tape. After what Elon just did, when there's red tape, it's going to be like this. Yeah, Donald. Yeah, do this. Okay. Boom.
Executive order. Your department no longer exists.
Every other company that's not Elon's now must make all of their products from Elon.
I'm okay with that. I would like to see Tesla go to over 1,000. That'll be nice.
It's it'll be an interesting thing to see how that all works out.
Mm-hmm.
But Elon knows business is going to be, Trump's, which is almost unbelievable. It was the Trump, what's he own? Truth Social, is that it?
Yeah.
Went up and they put him over $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like, damn. People were making fun of when he started that thing. Remember? Like, oh my God, he's so stupid. He's going to lose all his money.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out he did.
I think Elon might buy Truth Social and merge it with X.
That would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to help this show, though, go to unrelenting.show.
Yeah.
And send
Put
us
some money
your money
in. Don't leave a message.
Unless you have, like Dale from Down Under, man, that guy can send us a 35-page note.
No, Dale's got special privileges that other people have not earned.
You must earn your privilege in this Trumpian land. But my question was, if I'm going to buy a new computer, do I buy it with Bitcoin? Should I be using it now? Should I feel like
don't
it's
spend
time?
Bitcoin? That'd be silly.
It's time to get rid of the Bitcoin.
No, God, no.
Then because
it's at 75. It's at 76,000, just shy of 76,000.
And when it's back down to 3,000,
it's going to be at $1 million per coin.
This is a prediction. This is bold.
Is a prediction. The only reason that I have Bitcoin is because it's going to be $1 million.
When's it going to hit that number? When's it going to hit the
After
number?
I die.
That's okay. I'm planning on living slightly longer than you, so just make sure you give me the wallet in your will.
All right. Yeah.
I could just come down to Texas and there'll be a QR code and I'll be like,
boy, you're being awfully optimistic. Planning to live longer than you. All right.
I mean, really, come on. I'm the epitome of health.
I know. Right. Exactly.
I'm going to take all the
both of us
Elon
take like
drugs.
20 pills in the morning and we're the epitome of health.
I know. And then you have to figure out how to space them out, which I'm 99% sure I don't want to go back to the other way to test it out. But I believe
I don't bother, dude. I don't care what it says in the bottle. I take them all at the same time.
Well, see, when I was taking the quercetin and the taurine at the same time, there was a lot of stomach issues. And when I spread them
train
out,
your stomach, man.
Okay, I got to keep. If you just do it long enough, the body eventually gives up. Okay.
The new one that I just ordered up that I used to do when I was in my ute, but apparently now they're showing has a good positive impact on brain activity is creatine. So add that to yours.
Oh man, more supplements. Got to put the B12 down.
Yeah. But creatine, I did back when I was doing weightlifting, and that was you wanted to stack creatine in the morning before you work out so that you have more energy in your workouts.
So no to selling the Bitcoin. You don't want to sell Bitcoin. You don't want to turn that into...
I mean, if you're going to do day trading type stuff, you want to sell it now, you're going to pick it up for 72, sell it at 79, pick it up back at 75. Yeah, you can do that. I don't have the patience for that. I'm a buy and hold kind of guy. Even
the other one, I'm forgetting what it is. The XRP, what is it? The other one I was buying. I'm like, this was the crypto.
Dogecoin?
No, not the Dogecoin. That's a little bit different. But there was it was the one Void Zero was like, oh, Polkadot and the other one. Now, why can't I? See, I need the B12.
Sounds like it.
I definitely need the B12.
So the stock market, the NASDAQ, I should say, composite index, went from a little over 18,000 to 19,269 in the last couple days. So that's actually not as big of a jump as I was thinking they would do.
Cardano, that's the one.
Oh, Cardano. Yeah, you were big into that whole Cardano thing.
And I've got, I think, looking here, about 1,000 in Cardano, which I had back in the day, Donations had 1,000. I put another 1,000 in, and I'm down to 1,000. So I lost 1,000 on the Cardano. Should I just get rid of that and make it into an Apple machine, or we bullish on Cardano? Should I just move the Cardano into Bitcoin?
I've never bought or liked the other shit coins.
And I should have listened to CSB, because he was always like, Darren, all besides Bitcoin is shit, do not buy.
Yeah, and as much as I don't admit this, he's absolutely right.
Wow. That is a big admission here on Unrelenting.
Right? Yeah, and incidentally, go to, what is it, csb.lol? Is that his website?
Yes, one of them.
Yeah. Check out his cartoons. They're funny.
He has new cartoons without baboons, although those
look at that.
we have.
We even mentioned that without him paying.
Yeah, CSBC, we like you. Rooting for Trump.
Although Darren refuses to read messages on his other podcasts, he only reads them on this one, apparently.
I read messages everywhere.
That's not what I heard.
There's none where there's a cutoff line, except this one.
Yeah, this is $10, guys. Come on, seriously. If you want a message, it's going to be $10 or more.
I mean, we have a very nice reach. Unless if you can prove that you have subscribed to Gene's YouTube page, there's a one-time offer for a $5.
Oh my God.
Well, how badly
While
do you
we're
need
talking,
those subscribers?
NASDAQ just went up $257.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, that's good for everybody that has
Apple
money
is down
in the market. And you'll know, okay, so you still
Amazon is down. It's funny how all these liberal companies are down and everybody else is way up.
You still have the Sir Gene icon, though. That's how you know it's Gene for
that's right.
Atlas Rand Gaming.
Icon. That's a photograph, man.
Sure it is. It's a drawing that was done by AI, it looks like.
It was totally not done by AI.
Subscribe today. What? No, let's see. What, you tell us like what your monitor? Okay, so here's my gear, man. I got an RX 6950 XT.
Yeah, that's common in the video games because it's a question everybody asks all the time.
43-inch monitor, dual 27 side monitors. Woo!
Mm-hmm.
A Ryzen 7 5800. That's old now, isn't it? You can get a new one.
It is. All that shit's old now, dude. I'm running the same machine now for 3 years.
Operating system Windows. Stream Deck Plus.
Yeah.
With EVRE 320. How you doing? Oh, you got a Patreon too. You can, how many? Okay, do we want to even look and tell people how many?
0.
It's like what you got to
have. I never log in there. Actually, I don't know what's on there. Maybe there are people that have given me money. I assume it's 0.
Gene currently has 656 subscribers. If that hits 1,000 by the next show, Gene will give a free poncho to all of the people that can prove they've subscribed.
Anyone that donates $20 on the next show, send your address. I'll send you a poncho.
Woo! 1 or a pack of 3.
I'll send you a pack of 3.
That is a bargain. It's the poncho episode.
I'm basically what that means is
you're clearing out your garage.
Darren makes $10. I make $0,
and you clear
because
out
I'm
your
sending
garage.
you a poncho. Yeah. So
like
if you want to have me not make any money and Darren make $10, send $20 for next show.
I think that's what people like. Now, this Google, the subscribe now link, is that what takes them to?
Yeah, the short link, the Google link, it goes to. I mean, it doesn't subscribe them. It actually takes them to the page where they're asked if they want to subscribe.
I'm subscribed, kids. I'm one of those. I might have to unsubscribe though. I mean, that's.
And I was at 201 subscribers a week ago.
Damn, you're making ground quick.
Right?
Help Gene make no money on YouTube by subscribing today. You'd always feel like I should be making something, right?
Yeah.
And the new Mac Mini, man, it's been 3 weeks since we've talked. The new Mac Mini has been like announced, and it's like, damn, the specs are.
You should get it. So I watched the video that Canadian guy that does the tech show did.
I saw Marquez Brownlee and somebody else talk about it. I don't know. Canadian.
Well, he likes Marcus Brownlee. He's an Apple guy, so I trust him less. No, I'm thinking of what's the guy? He's this Canadian guy that's kind of nerdy. He's got the show.
The guy with the show. I'm not sure. I don't watch that many tech channels.
Oh. God, what is his name? But he's super popular. It'll come to me. I'm sure it's
That's what they all say.
I know. I know. I subscribe to him on YouTube, but I just can't think of his name off the top of my head.
Is it Linus?
Linus Tech Tips.
Oh, I do watch Linus.
There you go. Yeah. So Linus, who's not a Mac guy at all, he said this is the Mac Mini to buy,
and it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It is. See, now here was the thing. I was based upon the last version that was out, and I'm already doing the editing in the notes for the next show just to make sure that we get your link in there, so it's all good. Yeah. But the last round, it was only the Mini Pro, so the high end. The $1,300 version or whatever it is that allowed you to do 3 monitors out of the gate.
Yeah.
Now all of them do. So I was kind of assuming got to go Pro because that would give me everything I need. But I'm still kind of torn. Do I want the Pro?
I just think it's funny that you're so worried about having 3 monitors when all you got to do is just buy a bigger monitor.
You could. You can definitely go because this one that I just bought, what is this? Like a 32 or something or 30.
But more importantly, what's the resolution?
Well, I don't need the super high resolution, so that's not even needed. I just want the real estate.
That makes it even easier then. Really, I want the resolution. And right now, for playing Elite Dangerous, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 monitors hooked up.
That is called a sickness, Gene.
No, that is called a workstation for flying a spaceship.
There are no real spaceships in this game.
No, they're better than real.
They're virtual.
They're totally real. Shut up. They're real.
Spaceships are a lot like women in Gene's world. Completely virtual.
Believe me, they're a lot cheaper than women.
Virtual spaceships are a lot cheaper than real women, let me tell you.
Yeah. Exactly. But no, that's one of the things that I actually like about the types of games I play generally have a very big modding and development community. And so this particular game has that as well. And there are a bunch of different apps available that take the data from the game in real time and then parse it a variety of different ways to be useful to somebody playing the game, but they're running in their own screen.
Which is cool. It's like we talked about the guy that did the flight simulator stuff.
Yeah.
To be able to have the gauges in one screen and the, the outward looking on other screens. And, I get it. The main difference between the M4 Pro and the regular one would be it comes with more memory right out of the box, which I don't know if that's needed at all. I do work with big ass WAV files.
The more the better.
So that would take you from 6. They're all at least a base now of 16 where they were 8.
Yeah, which people have been saying for years. It's retarded that they even sell the 8 gig versions.
So the 24 would be where you would go with the Pro. That's the minimum. And it has a 12-core CPU rather than the base one comes with a 10. Of course, not that big of a deal.
I would just go with the base one myself, and
that's a huge difference in price. You're talking $600 up to 14. The main thing would be that life well beyond a couple of years, because the ports they upgrade you to are the Thunderbolt 5 rather than 4. I'm kind of pissed that the Pro one doesn't come with the 10 gig networking by default. Come on.
Yeah.
What does it fucking cost to change the Ethernet in there? It's that
you better do it when you order it if you're going to do it.
Well, I know, because the size of these things are hilarious at this point.
Oh, yeah, they're tiny.
Now, I mean, they can all run the 3 monitor. I just wanted, I mean, the storage they yank you on too. The base one comes with 256, which doesn't seem like
you so don't need to worry about storage space, dude, because you're going to plug in the
extras.
Yeah, and the external that you want to be plugging in is also an SD. So you're going to plug in something that's really fast, going through a really fast port like Thunderbolt 5, or even just USB 3.2. I mean, that's fast enough as well. So none of this is stuff to worry about. You're like the slowest, cheapest version of the new Mac Mini is probably 3 to 5 times faster than the one that I bought 2 years ago.
And I'm just curious if it would even be any
with an M1
between the different versions, even what the speed difference would be, if anything, rendering out the podcast files from the big way. I mean, because they're huge files.
Very minimal difference.
You know, and that would be the main thing, because we're not doing, although if
the cheap version can render multiple 4K streams at the same time. And so you're going to go from like rendering 4 streams to rendering 6 streams on the Pro. Who cares?
And
trying to save you money, dude.
Baron Spud the Mighty is righty. So I've yet to see the user interface on a computer use 4K well. Most of them suffer from tiny print in the menus and windows. And yeah, I'm already dealing with that with this monitor, which is a real pain in the ass. Because a lot of those don't let you adjust the text size within a lot of the program, like in all the Adobe shit. It's like there's no setting like, well, the text is way too fucking small for somebody with shitty eyes, so make it bigger.
No, it's not too small. Your monitor is just too small.
I just need to have I need a wall of monitor.
I mean, you know how this works, right? If you keep the resolution the same and you increase the size of the monitor, then every pixel is bigger and the text is no longer small.
Right.
So when I had, young person eyesight, I could have a 17-inch 4K monitor because it had all the data and my eyes were perfectly fine looking at that. With, slightly older person eyes.
Slightly.
Okay, old person eyes. Right. I've got a 47-inch monitor with 4K resolution, and that works great.
Give me a 47 monitor with the regular 1080p.
Give me a few. Yeah, for you, probably. Give me another 5 years, I might be running a 52-inch monitor with the same resolution.
3 inches away from Gene's eyes.
Well, they've always been that close, but yeah. So it's anyone complaining about how things are too small, it just means your monitor is too small. That's the only thing that's actually, well, maybe not the only thing that's too small.
Hey-o.
But it's the thing that's too small relating to your vision.
Then they just have to get some nice, because I've got USB hubs. I mean, I've got so many.
Unless you're talking about a laptop,
drives.
Obviously you can't really control although my last laptop that I bought, this last gaming one, and it's a gaming one because it has a 4080 video card in it.
Well, now they've got
runs at about 160 degrees Fahrenheit.
That you can have 2 monitors on the side of your main laptop monitor. The things that just clip on now. That's wild.
They do that. Yeah. It is pretty wild. I actually bought one of those portable monitors. That's one of the 6 that I use for gaming is it's a single wire monitor. So all it has is, Thunderbolt on it. That's all, just one connector, and that carries the power and the video signal.
You could order whatever you want, man. All that Tesla money rolling in.
Yeah, all that Tesla money, exactly.
So I just need some hubs and stuff. I mean, because really, it's like I look at I don't even know how, but I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I probably got and then there's the ports in the back. I probably got 18 USB devices plugged into this current machine. Including the Stream Decks and all of that. That's the one thing I hate with all the Apple devices, especially the Mini, where it's like, well, we give you 2 ports. Well, fuck you. Yeah. I need
exactly.
Although I guess again, the bandwidth is so big on the Thunderbolt ports that you kind of go from that and then you plug a USB strip into that. And
yeah, I have a 12-to-1.
And that all just plugs in the USB devices into one Thunderbolt port.
Yeah, essentially, I just break up that into USB 3 for all the sort of, devices that are quick speed, but not
essential.
They're not high bandwidth.
Right.
And then for things like external SD drives and things, those I go direct Thunderbolt to Thunderbolt.
Well, yeah, the drives and the monitors are going to take the most.
Monitors don't take much, dude. Monitors used to be considered a lot back 10 years ago for your bandwidth. But honestly, right now for the, even running a 4K screen, it's not anywhere near the bandwidth that my data storage is at.
Now, the other thing would be, I still can't, there's no super way to do like all these stable diffusion stuff on Apple. It still seems like, nope, you got to have a Windows or Linux with a nice big NVIDIA
You've
card.
checked? I don't know because I don't run that stuff, but I would assume there's been people porting it all to Macs, and they all have AI capability in their coprocessors now.
Not so it can spy on me. Should I worry? Is Apple going to spy on me?
No, it'll just make sure the camera is facing the whole room, but no, it's never going to spy on you.
You're like, wait, no, I thought that was a headphone jack. That's a camera? Man. Yeah, because it's like,
Didn't you see the little red light coming out of it?
$13.99.
I will say this is one thing that I miss the Mac Minis. They used to all have combination audio ports, which were a combo of 1/8 inch plugs, stereo, and optical SPDIF. And they stopped doing that when they moved to their own architecture. So they don't have built-in SPDIF anymore like they used to. But they used to have fiber SPDIF built in on all the Mac Minis.
Yeah, most people are, Alvaro is echoing what you said. Almost everybody's like, get the base unit and the reality is it's cheap enough where if I'm like, I still need more, then I just move that one over to the wife's computer and buy another one.
Mm-hmm. Apple does, they do trade-ins because they're all like green and everything these days. So you'll be able to get at least $100 off the next computer when you trade this one in 6 months later.
We are not measuring our Macs, Bemrose, but did you know the new Mac Mini is 5 inches by 5 inches by 2 inches? It's like, how do you fit a whole fucking computer in there?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What? Anybody want to guess? I mean, the only one I'm going to hear is you, Gene. But anybody in the troll room want to guess if you go to the Mac Mini M4 Pro and max it out? So get the step-up processor. You step it up twice to the 64 gig of memory. You step it up to 8 gig of storage and to the 10 gig Ethernet. What do you think? A Mac Mini Pro.
I would say $1,800.
$46.99.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. A Mac Mini M4 Pro maxed out is $5,000. Well,
I can't. That's insane, dude. Because that line isn't supposed to go that high.
$4,700.
Yeah,
or $391 a month.
And I say that as a guy that bought the trash can Mac a decade ago.
Right.
$10,000.
The Pro.
That my Mac was the most expensive computer I've ever bought. Still is. Never bought anything that's that expensive. It was $9,999 plus tax.
Mark has said the benchmarking on this M4, because of course that's what he got, the Mac Mini M4 Pro, outdid every other Apple machine he's ever had in the benchmarks.
Yeah.
So the reality is, yes, this is faster than all of the Mac Pros, all of the MacBook Pros, but still, I mean, it's because they gank you on everything that they possibly can. If you drop down to just put it this way, if you drop down to just the base storage, it's $22.99, which isn't horrible then.
Okay. What's the cheapest price? What's it start at?
For this particular one is $13.99.
No, the cheapest Mac Mini.
$5.99.
Nobody in their right mind would buy anything other than the cheapest. $4.99?
$5.99. Unless you're a student, yes.
Well, you're a student.
I don't have a EDU email address, sadly.
Oh, I thought you used to.
I should.
Okay. Can't your wife fix that for you being a government employee?
You would think so. Like, come on. Well, the funny thing is, we are now subscribed to various police publications because the union they put her in from Village Hall was in the police. It's part of the police union.
Oh, my God.
I'm like, wait, so I know that the police union gives the officers a certain amount of insurance if you're involved in a shooting.
Oh, boy.
I'm like, do we get that? Because that would be nice. That would be nice.
Free shooting insurance. Yeah.
Right. Like if you're involved in a shooting and there's a problem, you get lawyers, that kind of a thing. It's a beautiful thing. But the cheapest Mac Mini starts at $599. And let's see what we can max that
I'm
one
looking
out
at their website right now. You literally don't need to buy anything other than that. The internal SSD storage, irrelevant.
Yeah. Well, and that's
because
where they're
you're
really
going to be
just
using
ruining it.
All that's going to hold is the operating system and Adobe applications and the scratch space for those Adobe applications. That's it. Everything else will either be external or in the cloud.
Now, if you want, really, again, it depends how much memory is actually needed. Coming from Windows, it's still very weird to be like.
You don't need any more than 16. I've always ordered the upgraded to 16 memory on all my Apple products.
And you're like, now it's too
I've
much.
never been in a situation where I felt like, damn, I wish I had more RAM.
So really the
Apple
only thing
is way better at memory management than Windows is.
And the only thing would be to go to the 10 gigabit Ethernet, but I think I'm still probably better off just doing that in a dongle if I really want to. Because this one I've got 2. My machine now is 2.5.
Yeah. Most of them are 2.5. Is this one not 2.5?
No,
is
it's
this
one. It's just one
Literally?
out of the box.
Really?
Right. These motherfuckers at Apple, it's one. And they want you to pay $100 for 10.
I mean, I would probably rather do that upgrade than any other of the upgrades because the paying $200 to go to 24 gigs, not worth it.
No.
If you're going to do it, go all the way to 32.
And then that's 400 to double it.
Yeah.
It's like, damn.
Going to 512 SSD, while that would give you a little more extra breathing room, $200 is so not worth it because literally for $200,
you could buy more.
You can buy a 2
and plug it
terabyte
in.
SSD.
Right. The regular Mac Mini, this one maxes out the base unit at 1900 if you max it out.
Okay, well, that's close to what I was thinking. So, I think I said, 1800 or 1700?
Right, for the regular.
Whatever I said.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this maxes out at 1900, really. So that's still a little more than it should. But if I was buying one, and I totally don't need one because my current Mac Mini
you
works
let one
fine.
sit there for a year and a half before you open the box.
Yeah. I bought the M1 version and it sat in the box for a year until I plugged it in.
But you're loving it. No problem.
Because I had the other, and I still have, 2 Mac Minis sitting. One of them's plugged in, one of them's not plugged in. But the new one just replaced the old one, basically plug and play. But my old one that I have is an i7 Mac Mini from 10 years ago.
Good times.
Which lasted 10 years. Perfectly fine. And the only reason I got this one was because the software started getting updated to their own architecture. Otherwise,
much more
I was
efficient.
perfectly happy with the old one.
Right, with the silicon, way more efficient. Well, that's what most people are saying. This is the first one. Even it's still questionable if you have M1 whether this is even worth a.
It's not for me because all I do with it is record this podcast.
Yeah. Well, hey, and the bandwidth from the big bottom and the oral exciter might need a little extra.
Oh yeah.
This is the best sounding podcast you're going to hear today.
Probably.
And I hear there is
not a Thursday or a Sunday.
Yeah, there is no podcasting 2.0 today. That's
Oh, really? What's Adam up to?
He's around. I think Dave is out in the according to CSB, Dave's in the wilderness or something.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what that means. If maybe he's on a mission too, much like yours. Although, the timing now, I don't know what kind of mission you'd go on.
Yeah, I don't either. That's interesting timing.
Interesting indeed. So people want to go. We'll have the link for Gene's YouTube page. Don't forget.
Mm-hmm.
Go subscribe. If Gene gets over 1,000, there will be a big celebration on the next show.
Yeah.
And that way you'll also know that this show has some juice.
$20 donation gets you the ponchos, but you got to include your mailing address.
$20 donation in episode number 135 will get you poncho goodness. Gene will even sign them for you.
Nope.
Like not for $20. No, not for $10. Nope. I will not. I will not. Now, if they buy a whole,
I'm basically breaking even on the damn things at that point.
Don't you have a full book set like O'Reilly is selling, like all 13 of his books in one big package for Christmas? Aren't you going to package up all the Neftuli books?
No, I do want to move some of these ponchos because they're starting to break the desk they're sitting on.
How many ponchos do you got?
Too many.
Okay. Were you home on Halloween?
No.
Because otherwise I was wondering if you would have given away ponchos.
Oh, for Halloween treats? That would be a totally safe Halloween treat that would be probably appreciated by parents and hated by the kids.
Yeah. Here's a poncho. Yeah. Where's the fucking candy? But it's
also a Halloween costume.
Right?
It's bright orange.
Perfect. It almost looked like a garbage bag.
Hey, now.
Hey, we got the picture of Vlad wearing it. That was great.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
It was nice that Uncle Vlad was able to do that for you.
Yep.
It's very...
Yeah, I'm out of stock in Russia, amazingly, but I still have a ton of stock here.
Well, we need to redo that ad then with Trump. Orange man and orange poncho.
You're onto something. He likes wearing orange things, he said, so I need to mail him a poncho.
The story about wearing the garbage collector vest.
Yeah, it's safety vest. Yeah.
Was hilarious.
It was great. The guy had a career in comedy if he wanted it. No two ways about it.
I mean, he knows how to tell a story. He's got the timing.
He's got the timing. That's the thing is he knows timing.
And he's also, I mean, again, maybe I'm just not remembering it all. It does seem that he has gone a little bit more into the self-deprecation lane.
I agree.
Which is, I think, really one of the things that has helped him, along with the McDonald's and the garbage truck thing. Yeah, of course they were publicity stunts. But they made him seem like more of a regular guy. And it was certainly helped by the people at the McDonald's speaking highly of him. The guy that was driving the garbage truck, like, hey, wait, he actually turned and he was talking to me. This wasn't just like, oh yeah, okay, you're the driver. Don't look at me, don't talk to me. And I mean, I guess Trump asked him like, hey, can we take this thing for a spin? And he's like, I let the parking brake out, moved about 2 feet, and the Secret Service are like, just driving away with Trump in a big. Can you imagine the Secret Service running behind the garbage truck? Like, no.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that'd be funny. Yeah. That's crazy. I think a lot of those government service agencies right now are in absolute panic mode. Like, oh my God, whose job is safe?
None of them should be.
Agreed.
Susie Wiles becoming the first, head of state. Who? The one that like ran his campaign. Like the first woman ever. What did Rahm Emanuel do for Obama?
Buy votes.
Yeah, I mean that too. He was very good at that. The chief of staff. I'm sorry. There we go. Chief of staff.
Oh yeah. Chief of staff. Sure.
But first woman ever that will serve as the chief of staff, Susie Wiles, and so much for the case that again the Mark Cuban tried to make with Trump doesn't like with strong women around him. Like I think that may have backfired on them more than they realize as well. Although maybe Mark Cuban was just hopefully trying to help Trump while pretending to help the Democrats.
No, Cuban's been a dick for a long time.
I used to like him. I mean, but not for a few years now.
I never liked him, dude. He's a fake billionaire. I mean, he's a real billionaire, but he got there in a very lucky way that had little to do with actual business acumen.
He bought broadcast.com, Gene.
Yeah, and then turned it into $1 billion.
And then became a dick.
Yeah. Although he may have been a dick before that. I don't know.